Thanks for checking out Inside the Zone here on Wayne.com for Week 3 of the high school football season. And really, in a way, for the ACAC and the Northeast State, the second season of sorts begins this week because conference play gets going in those two conferences. We've had conference play in the SAC already, but we're going to go heavy on the Northeast State and the ACAC as non-conference is already wrapped up. And when we start on the Northeast State, our highlight zone game of the week is going to be two 2-0 teams. We're talking about Leo at Norwell. Norwell, maybe not a surprise that they're 2-0, but they've been dominant.
They have been, right?
And Leo has been dominant with the even tougher schedule. So how do you see this one playing out, and kind of what's your take on Leo going to Norwell in what should be an exciting day for the Knights as they open up that new turf down at the courtyard?
Yeah, a lot of excitement down in Ossian, or is it Uniondale officially?
Ooh, that's a good point. We'll have our surveyor down there.
Yeah, we'll see just where the lines are drawn, but being able to open that the new turf at the stadium is going to be a lot of excitement. We've seen other teams kind of feed off those kind of big events earlier in the year. Northrop looked good for a quarter. Bishop DeWinger, obviously, a lot of excitement last Friday, so maybe Norwell can have a little excitement turn into maybe an upset on the field. We'll see.
Yeah, and the thing that strikes me about Leo is I remember at the beginning of the year, this is why we don't put money down on these teams. We're like, how are they going to be without A.J. Restivo at quarterback? Yeah. Or is the offense going to be okay? Peyton Wall apparently cannot be tackled.
Nope.
He's got over 400 yards rushing in the first two games, and they've beaten a good Angola program and a pretty solid Woodland program in back-to-back weeks. How do you see Leo heading into this game knowing that, maybe they weren't the big dog in this conference we thought at the beginning of the year? Maybe East Noble had that title, but they've played like it so far this season.
Definitely have. In dominant fashion, you mentioned Peyton Wall, who's been so good. Playing a little, back and forth with the quarterbacks. A senior gets some playing time, and the sophomore kind of going back and forth with that. It's worked out through two games, and all of a sudden we're looking at that East Noble game looming here in a week or two as that game to watch in the NE8.
Yeah, let's move on to Huntington North at East Noble because East Noble, I think most people pick them as the team to beat in this conference based on their history and returning perhaps the best starting quarterback in the Northeast State and one of the best, no doubt, in the area.
I think you can make a case.
I was just about to say.
You're probably going through the quarterbacks and saying who's better.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can find anybody.
Well, Huntington North has gotten kind of a shot in the arm. I like Bob Prescott. I was out at a practice, just a positive vibe around the team. And although they got beat week 1 at Warsaw, they bounced back with a 56-0 win this past week. So things are headed in the right direction over there. But East Noble has had, I don't know if there's a team out there that has had a better non-conference season than East Noble with the wins against Mishawaka and then a good one on the road against Plymouth in week 1.
There's no team that has a more impressive 2-0 right now in the area than East Noble. That's not to say that they're the best team in the area. I think they're in the conversation. But in terms of quality wins, being able to knock off, Mishawaka was obviously a big win. Plymouth to open the season on the road, coming back from a second half deficit. So when you look at East Noble, you have to say, man, that 2-0, very, very impressive. Huntington North in the right direction with Bob Prescott, but still a year or so, two away from competing with East Noble.
Yeah, when you take a look at East Noble, what is it that has their mojo going? Because they've got Hayden Jones at receiver, they got the Ernstberger kid, they got Bailey Parker. It just seems like whenever they lose guys, they replace guys. I don't know. Yeah. Luke Amslis has the magic going up there in that country.
In Kendallville, like Van Gorder stepped in really good at running back, and so they're leading tackler on defense as well. So just being able to reload as a program that's reached that point, and Luke Amstutz has done a phenomenal job. Of course, Chris DePue even before him. So a lot of positive vibes over the history of East Noble the last decade, 15 years, and they continue to roll, and they look right now to be the favorite in the Northeast State.
And next week, they'll be taking on DeKalb. Let's talk a little bit about the Barons, because you and I both really like this team coming in, and I think they've proven a lot of the people that were high on them right. Offensively, they're a big play offense. They get some chunk yardage, but they can also grind it out with a couple of running backs.
I think you look at Corey Price, a guy that was the bona fide number 1 quarterback, and then Evan Eschbach transfers in, and then that's a difficult position for a guy like Corey Price to be in. Yet they have some packages for him at quarterback, particularly in the read option game, and they'll run some plays off him. Was able to score a touchdown last Friday. So good on you, Corey Price. We see so many kids, and at all levels, when a quarterback comes in, they automatically check out, right? If their quarterback starting spot is in danger or even gone, they check out. Corey Price, still there, still zoned in, still doing what he needs to do for that team to win. it's a really admirable trade out of that kid.
They got the Rhodes kid, they got the Jack kid, they got the Miller kid, they got all kinds
They
of
got
guys.
a bunch of kids.
Yeah, they got a bunch of kids.
They do.
Making plays, and it's been nice to see Pete Kemp, great guy.
Yeah.
You like to see him doing well. But they're traveling to a team this week in New Haven who, I mean, their schedule was tough, but you didn't expect them to be 0-2, I guess,
Right.
at this point.
I didn't expect such a lopsided game last week
Yeah.
at Mississinawa. I thought there was a chance the New Haven lost, but I think New Haven's a bad team, but I think they've taken a step back. And now you're kind of looking at it and go, man, are they going to be able to finish with a 500 record in the NE8? They went 3-4 last year. Are they going to follow up back-to-back years sub 500 in the conference? DeKalb is no pushover on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, you're replacing your quarterback in Tim Jordan. You're replacing maybe the top wide receiver in the conference last year in Kentrell Thomas. You're replacing a running back in Stephen Owens. They had a lot of guys to replace at New Haven. So new guys in different spots, but the conference play begins for them this Friday, as it does with everybody in the Northeast State. And then here's a 2-0 team that I think has flown a bit under the radar, but Columbia City.
How about that?
Off to a nice start. They travel all the way to Hammond-Gavitt, pick up a win there, and then win a game at home in their home opener last week. They traveled to Belmont, and Belmont has not gotten off to the start that they were hoping to under the Eric Davis era. But let's talk about Columbia City, because what do you see this team doing well, other than the fact that they've got a 6'4" sophomore quarterback named Gregory Bolt that can let it fly and run it a little bit too?
And he has a great wide receiver in Michael Sievers to throw to. If Greg Bolt was in the SAC, everybody would be talking about him because he has the, like you said, 6'4", prototypical quarterback body. He has an arm on him. He's only a sophomore. He's getting looks from D1 schools. I mean, he would be the it kid in that class if he was in the SAC. But he's at Columbia City, so he goes really
Jeff Becker might have something to say about that too.
Jeff Becker has been phenomenal too, but he would be in that conversation with
True.
Becker as the next big sophomore, next big quarterback in the SAC. And most people don't go, Gregory Bolt, I have no idea who that kid is, but he's thrown for, 7 touchdowns through the first 2 games. I mean, he's been phenomenal, and he'll keep it rolling this week.
I remember interviewing Max Bedwell out there in preseason. He says, we think we have the best wide receiving core in the Northeast State. And I was like, I don't know about. And then you start to think about it. Michael Sievers is a big guy with speed. He's going to get a chance to play in college. I know Marion's high on him. You got the Gillis kid. That can make some really big plays. He's also about 6'1", 6'2".
Yep.
You've got Max Bedwell, who's made some big plays. He's money on the 2-point conversions we've seen in the past. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe they do have the deepest wide receiving core in the Northeast.
I would agree. And they have an ultra-talented quarterback throwing to him, similar to look at East Noble's skill position in terms of Bailey Parker throwing to a wealth of talent on the outside. All
right, so as we enter the Northeast State Conference play, is East Noble still the team to beat, or is the gap a little closer maybe between DeKalb, Leo, because those two teams have certainly impressed in the non-conference?
I do think East Noble is the favorite, but I do think the gap isn't as large as we thought it would be because Leo has been so impressive through the first 2 weeks. DeKalb, I think, is ahead of schedule in what they've done. I think Columbia City is ahead of schedule as well. So I still think it's a 2-horse race with East Noble and Leo, but a couple of those other teams could surprise if a team's not ready to play them.